Evil Dr. Fauci strikes again. The nation's top-paid virologist getting heat for suggesting Christmas may be canceled. Good job, jerk. Have fun, kids. But now he claims he never said that. So why should anybody listen to Fauci if all he's going to do is flip-flop? Dr. Grinch was on CBS yesterday talking about vaccines, and in the middle of the interview, he was asked about the upcoming holiday season. Watch.
We can gather for Christmas, or it's just too soon to tell?
You know, Margaret, it's just too soon to tell. We've just got to concentrating on continuing to get those numbers down and not try to jump ahead by weeks or months and say what we're going to do at a particular time.
Oh, God. And then today, after getting bombarded on social media, Fauci did a complete 180 and naturally blamed us for not understanding what he said.
The best way to assure that we'll be in good shape as we get into the winter would be to get more and more people vaccinated. That was misinterpreted as my saying we can't spend Christmas with our families, which was absolutely not the case. I will be spending Christmas with my family. I encourage people, particularly the vaccinated people who are protected, to have a good, normal Christmas with your family.
And the only way you can have Hanukkah is if the menorah has 8 syringes. Which is it, Tony? Everyone wants to make plans. The hallmark of the Biden administration's COVID response seems to be confusion. So this actually fits perfectly. Right on brand. But why would Fauci even suggest Christmas could be canceled or curtailed when vaccinations are on the rise and Delta seems to be on the decline? Let's meet tonight's main panel. I love Good Monday. We've got former George W. Bush presidential speechwriter and American Majority CEO Ned Ryun is back. You know who's really excited about that? This guy, Democrat strategist and former Biden campaign surrogate, Kevin Walling, has been tweeting about being back together with Ned all day. And, of course, we have Libertarian Party God, Spike Cohen. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Ned.
Thanks, Kennedy. Hey, Kennedy. Good to be with you. Hey, Ned. Good to see you, brother.
Poor Spike.
Hey, Kevin.
No. That's okay.
We love Spike, too.
Yes, we do. We'll go. Everyone will go out for strawberry margaritas later. So, Ned, let's get into this. I don't like what he has to say because he feels the need to chime in on everything, and he's at his absolute worst when he's freestyling. And the only reason people watch his interviews is to see if he says, you know, make some major edict that they could turn into news. And he doesn't disappoint. Then he blames us. He provided the context and said his comments were taken out of context.
You know, Kennedy, there's reality and then there's Fauci. And the good news is that nobody's really listening to him anyway. Yeah. I mean, go back over the last 6 weeks and look at the college football season and then the NFL and the NASCAR season. There are literally millions of people packing stands every weekend in what Fauci called super spreader events, which, of course, have not turned into that. In fact, we see actual declines in these areas where they're having big sporting events. So the good news is nobody's listening to Dr. Scrooge on anything, which I think is pleasantly surprising. And I think the American people have decided we're going to go back to reality. We're going to live in a world in which we're probably going to have to deal with COVID moving forward. And we're fine with that. We'll take precautions, but we're going to live our lives. And I think that's completely refreshing.
And I think, you know, at this point, that's what we have to do. And at this point, that's where the science is headed, that people have to make their own decisions for themselves and for their families, Kevin. But if he's saying, you know, there might even be a hint of a possible scenario where we're not having full-blown Christmas and Hanukkah, then he's saying that Halloween and Thanksgiving can't exist at all. And no one's going to buy that because most people have been vaccinated. They're not going to withhold a cherished holiday from their kids yet again.
Yeah, no, Kennedy, I think you're right. I think Dr. Fauci sometimes plays to our lowest common denominators with predictions for the future. But I think the key thing coming out of these conversations with him over the weekend and today is his focus on vaccinations. And Kennedy, you're absolutely right. We're seeing vaccinations up across the board. We're nearly double today, Monday, than we were just a week ago on this previous Monday. So that's a good thing. Some of that, of course, is booster dosages, but some of it is also first doses. So the only way we're going to get out of this current pandemic is through vaccinations.
I think you're seeing, whether it be teachers, frontline healthcare workers, folks, that are responding to various vaccine mandates are getting rolling up their sleeves and getting that shot. And again, that's going to be the easiest and quickest way we can end this pandemic heading into the holiday season.
So, Spike, I know that you always plan your calendar around Dr. Fauci's recommendations. Is that true this year as well?
Yeah, I was apparently ignoring Dr. Fauci back before it was popular. First of all, I would like to apologize for crashing Facebook earlier with that Fauci meme that we're not going to talk about anymore. But I just want to say, I think that this shows that I recently, this weekend, I was in Minneapolis in a very progressive part of the city in a very progressive restaurant, and it was packed with people who weren't wearing masks. Now, they were safe because we were sitting down, and COVID is going to attack you while you're eating dinner. It's not a monster.
Never does.
But the thing is, I think the reality is that the vast majority of people, even many people who care about what Dr. Fauci is saying, at this point, they just want to live their lives. They're taking their precautions based on their relative risk, which is really what we should have been doing all along. We're seeing more. This virus is following the common viral patterns, and there's very little that government policy is going to do to affect that other than shutting down hospitals by firing unvaccinated staff. But short of that, there's not really anything they can do. And I think that most of us have just kind of shrugged our shoulders and said, whatever Fauci says is fine. We're going to go ahead and live our lives. I am mad that he's making us talk about Christmas in October. We can add that to funding gain-of-function research in China to his list of things that I'm upset at him about.
Yes, and that are completely inappropriate. Here on this show, we have a hashtag, Let the Turkey Cool. We don't even begin talking about Christmas decorations until the Friday after Thanksgiving, when we've all been trampled in pursuit of giant TVs.
As God intended.
That's absolutely right. Amen.
Amen.